bullshit, then the commentator doesn't challenge him on that. He accepts it and just moves on to the next question because he's got so many questions he's got to get in. So the listener that's listening to this and doesn't hear it being challenged says, wow, it must be true because the commentator didn't challenge him.
Why don't you get a talk show at one of the stations in Dallas? Why don't you get a talk show?
I'm retired, man. I'm not just...
Yeah, but doing a talk show, you'd be good at it.
I'm retired.
You're well-researched. You're articulate. Why not?
I don't know. I've been in love with politics all my life. I represented... I was a delegate for Ann Richards in the early 90s.
She was Democrat.
Yeah.
I remember Ann. What, in like 90, 91?
This was 91. She was.
I was in Houston then.
She ran for governor.
For governor, yeah, I remember that. I lived here 90 to 92.
Yeah. But I've always I love politics. But I love politics when
it was honest.
When honorable men, the term statesman and elder statesman and politicians that was an honorable.
Well,
it was all
that kind of died in the 60s.
Oh, it started to disappear big time. But you know what you said earlier? You were exactly 100% right. I was a young man in 81 when Reagan came to power. I saw immediately what he did to the air traffic control.
Oh, he turned it upside down.
And his whole concept that poor people were poor because they wanted to be poor.
Right.
And
they chose
you don't have to worry about, don't care about those poor people. Let them live in cardboard boxes on the street. You just take care of yourself, America. Everybody's for himself here in America. You get it on your own in America.
Yep.
His whole concept
was so ass backwards.
It was bullshit, John Wayne bullshit.
Well, but you know who inspired all of that? It was the Bushes right behind him.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know if you know this, but word has it, I'm not an expert, but insiders tell me, because I do a lot of work with government people when I'm not getting arrested on bullshit charges, that Kennedy was actually assassinated by bin Laden because the hit was ordered by George Bush, who hired bin Laden to be part of the CIA in '59.
What?
Yeah, when Nixon got upset in the election and didn't win to Kennedy, Bush and Nixon got together and said, how do we get rid of Kennedy? And they hired bin Laden, and George Bush he was head of CIA then.
Yeah.
And he hired bin Laden, had him whacked.
Where are you reading this stuff at?
I got it from people who work in government.
Wow.
Yeah, stuff that could get me killed if it gets out on the street. But true story, they're telling me that it was a CIA hit. And that's why the Warren Commission was supposed to be made public in 50 years. The 50 years has come and gone, and it's not because he's still alive. So they resuppressed it again for another 50 years. It was an ordered hit.
You do not have to be a PhD
to figure that one out.
To know that the American government, the CIA, had something to do with the assassination of Kennedy. You don't have
and Martin Luther King and Bobby.
Yeah, well, definitely. If it wasn't for Martin Luther King, clearly the FBI was out to get him. Just like the FBI destroyed.
But the CIA did the hit.
The Black Panthers were just murdered by the FBI.
Well, I worked with the Black Panthers
Hoover had
because my mother was part of the Democratic Party.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm from Michigan and Detroit. Yeah. We worked with the Black Panthers, the UAW, the Teamsters. So I got to hear all the inside stories when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I started out in news at age 10 because when you have presidents and senators sitting in your living room, you go, can I quote you on that? And you have a voice like this.
Wow.
You call up ABC and say, according to the president today, nobody questions it. And we go, how old are you, kid? So I started Stringer News at ABC when I was 10 because my mother was the chairman of the Democratic Party in Michigan and helped get Carter elected.
So you were going down here to see about a job?
No, I was going down to meet a former FBI agent to find out who's been stealing shit from my companies because I'm doing a film on global warming. And as I was told by someone from the CIA before I left Los Angeles, Kurt, you would have been better off to take on the poppy fields here or the cocaine traffic here, but the fact that you decided to take on global warming, the rainforest, and the entire black market in one film, you might as well have put a fucking bullseye on your head.
Wow.
Yeah, I've pissed off the entire... I've had threats from the Illuminati. I've had threats from the Freemasons. I've had threats from the Rothschilds, from Satan cults. They do not want the word out about Ripley, what's going on with global warming or black market trade around the world. Wow. So if you ever get bored, Google Kurt Kelly. I wouldn't do it from home. And The Final Cut, which is one of my films, or The Secret of Life and Kurt Kelly. I'll jot this stuff down for you. You'll find out I've been very active in trying to change the world in a positive way.
I'll be damned.
So God bless you for pulling over and picking me up.
Man, you know what? I'm a Christian, man. I'm just not one of these radical.
I'm not sure I'm Christian anymore. I believe in God.
Well, okay.
Call it Allah,
Okay.
Buddha, Jesus. I don't want to get all hung up in whose religion it is.
Yeah, grab me a piece of paper.
Is it okay to write on this?
Yeah, sure. You know what?
I'm not all concerned what you call God anymore.
Well, you know what?
I'm over that.
Well, you know, from a historical standpoint, God has a dozen names in history.
Yahweh.
Okay, dozen names.
Thank you.
And the interesting thing about it, and about the story of a prophet or a Messiah coming, the interesting thing about it, during all these different religions around the world, they've all got almost the identical story about this prophet coming. And they're all saying the same things, generally pretty much the same like what's written in the Bible. But the thing is, there was no transportation to all these different parts of the world during that period of time. How could this word have gotten to all these different corners of the earth? There was no mass communication. But you got all these different religions that got this totally similar concept of a superior being coming to earth. How is that possible? There was no mass communication. There was no they didn't even know the other part of the world existed. Yet all of these stories, I mean, you look at all these major religions, they got the identical damn story with minor variations in it. I find that really strange. Really strange. Something is going on. My explanation is, you know what? We're probably not even a product of this planet. We're probably the offspring of some super beings from somewhere else that put us here and come back and check on us and see, man, they pretty much have screwed that situation up down there. We'll just leave them alone and let them deal with that because they screwed that up down there on Earth. But there's something superior, that's for sure. It may not live on this planet, but there's something superior. This is too beautiful. None of this all of this creation, from the microscopic plants to the beauty of...
I put down some of my websites.
Okay.
If you search my name with any topic, like Intel, it'll bring up all my identity theft and breach and homeland security, or my name and film on IMDb. Are you familiar with IMDb?
No, what is that?
If you look on it's Internet Movie Database. Okay. I've done tons of television, film, Internet Movie Database, IMDb.
And you live in Amarillo, though?
No, I live in Los Angeles.
You live in Los Angeles?
Yeah,
you're trying to get back home to LA?
Yeah.
Damn, Kurt.
I got to pick up shit at a hotel that I was arrested in. While I was in a hotel, they sent police to arrest me to bring me back. So if you look on IMDb, I'm Kurt Kelly #2. You'll see I've done everything from Saturday Night Live to to the Today Show to major films, and you got to meet me on the highway.
And they've got your car back.
Oh no, they already sent that back to LA last month.
They sent your car back.
So I gotta rent a car somehow. I need to. My insurance will pay for the car, but I've been advised by people in Homeland Security that I should get someone to put up the $50 copay, rent it under their name, and get me as an added driver so I can drive back to LA.
How the hell did you get out here in the middle of nowhere?
Well, because the sheriff, when they released me, dropped me off at the county line and said another sheriff was going to pick me up, and that was an hour ago, and they never showed up. So I just started walking and sticking a thumb out going, somebody will pick me up.
You know what? This is pretty ironic, man.